Hello traders, welcome to Tiffany Trades Options. My name is Tiffany and I love to trade stock options. I created this channel to show you some of my options trading strategies as well as to learn additional tips and tricks from you guys, my viewers. In today's video, I go over how I sell a put credit spread. I'll try to answer a few questions along the way as well as link to some very helpful and free resources in the description below. And of course, if you like the content, I'd be so happy to hear from you if you hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.
Because this is my very first video, I'm going to start this channel by trading in a brand new brokerage account that only has $500. I'm doing this to show anyone who is starting out that you don't need to save thousands of dollars first before you can get started with options trading. It's helpful, of course, but it's not totally necessary. Here I'm using a Tastyworks account and I'm on their web browser platform. Tastyworks does have a downloadable program, but since I'm not often on my personal computer or I'm trading from my phone, I don't really use it very often. For the record, I'm not sponsored by Tastyworks. I have no incentive to push their platform over any other. I also have accounts with E-Trade and TD Ameritrade, so it doesn't really matter that much which one you use as long as your brokerage firm charges you little to no fees. If you have any questions about that, drop them in the comments. Happy to answer. And if you want to use my Tastyworks referral code to open your own account with them, just let me know. I'm not going to leave it in the links because I'm not trying to push them, but happy to share if you want it. So if you've been paying any attention to the market conditions lately, you'll know that the market recently took a giant nosedive from all-time highs. I'm going to show you a chart for SPY, which is the ETF that tracks the S&P 500 index. This is also a chart for SPX as well. So this is a 3-year chart just to sort of see how the ETF has trended over the last 3 years, and you can see that the last time it hit a pretty steep low was in December of 2018. It hit support around 240, just a little under 240. In February, it got a high of up to almost 340. And then more recently on March 23rd, broke through the support levels and dropped down to 218.26. Shot back up again. It's been hanging out around the 240 mark again. So just something to keep in mind when we're looking at whether to open trades and at which strikes to open them at. So the interesting thing about this chart is that people will try to time the bottom, and as you can see, we've sort of started to increase a little bit over the last couple of days. I don't think we're totally in the clear with COVID and the financial implications that it's going to have on the economy down the road, but I do think people want to get back to normal as quickly as possible. So going back to the 3-year chart, we saw that SPY had support around 240. Broke through that support again recently down to about 228, so 230, 240 or so. Today, it's trading at 253. And even though the market is down today, I'm still going to open a put spread. Generally, I try to sell directionally, which means that if the market is down, I will open puts. When the market is up, I sometimes will open calls because I sort of expect it to go up like this. All right, so we're going to open up a put spread in SPY today. I like to trade contracts that are usually 30 to 60 days away, and in May 15th is the monthly expiration, which is currently 49 days away, so this is sort of the ideal timing. I'm going to sell a put at 243. I'm going to buy a put at 242. Remember, I'm only starting this account with $500 and I don't have that much buying power, so I'm going to keep my trade small for now. Some people will trade larger widths to collect more credit. You see, as an example, the wider you go, the more credit is collected. But then the more buying power is reduced, and since this is a small account, we're going to sort of limit that right now. Analyze 244 and 243, so it's only a couple cents difference between them. So I'm just going to stick with 243 and 242. And I'm both buying and selling at the same time because I want to define my risk in case something crazy happens and SPY completely moves against me. I also aim for collecting 1/3 of the width in credit. So that is what is happening right here. 34 cents is about 1/3 of 100. The midpoint is about 35 cents. So the bid and the ask. So go ahead and try to get in at this current midpoint of 34. So we're going to lock the order, and review and send. So this is the confirmation before we hit send. So my buying power is going to be reduced by $68.32. If this trade works in my favor, the maximum amount of money I can earn is $34. The max that I could lose is $66. All right, so we're just going to kind of hang out, see if that gets filled, and then we'll report back. Sort of a matter of personal preference, but sometimes if you're interested in actually getting into the trade and you don't really care whether or not you're going to quibble over a penny or two, you have the option of adjusting your trade, and you maybe want to go down a penny to see if it'll get filled at that level instead. So we'll see if that works. Be interesting to check on today is the options volume. SPY is a very heavily traded ETF. This is today's expiration, which is Friday, March 27th. You can see that there's a lot of activity in SPY today. It's because the people are managing their contracts, trying to make last minute trades or take profit where they can. We'll see what May is looking like. So there's a lot of activity here today too. So 243 is actually not very active today. So maybe we'll consider changing the strike prices. 240 has a lot of volume. 250 has a lot of volume. Yeah, let's do that. Let's readjust. So even if we move up a couple of strikes, we're still trading around the same price, so we're not really losing out by this. Yeah, they're all going for about the same rate. So I'm going to lock this. Again, this is a matter of personal preference. You're not obligated to try to change it to the downside, but if you want it to get filled, it might work in your favor to do this. Here, this is only a difference of 2 cents. It's not that big of a deal to me, so I'm going to try it and see what happens. That's about as low as I'm willing to go. There. So that was filled at 32 cents. We're going to take a look at the effect it's had on our buying power. So you see that this was formerly $500. Now this is our buying power, which is $429.68. The total cash balance, though, is $529.68, which means that I collected a little under $30 in credit after fees. So that cash is sitting in my account. Having buying power will allow me to manage the trade if I need to. If I need to make some adjustments like roll out and increase the strikes. Or if I want to, in a couple of days, I can put on another position. I think for right now, what we're going to do is just go ahead and monitor this trade. Some people like to set limit orders to automatically close once their trade hits a certain percentage of profit. I do that sometimes if I don't have a lot of opportunity to sort of monitor the market on the daily, if I'm busy, if I'm away from my computer. So we're going to go ahead and do that here. I'm going to try to capture 55% of the profit. This is a matter of personal preference. You can do 75 if you want. It'll take longer to get there. If you want to sort of trade frequently, you can capture smaller amounts of profit. So if I capture 50%, 55% profit, then that means I'll be able to keep $18 of this 30 that I collected. Go to the activity, working orders here, filled orders here, history. These are the fees. So typically when I'm tracking, I will take this price, 32 cents, minus these prices, so 29.68. But we could have also easily figured that out by looking here. We started with $500 and now we have $529.68. All right, so I'm kind of a giant nerd. I like to keep a record of my trades. So here I'm going to write $29.68. This is the amount of credit that I have collected in the account so far. I'm going to put the ticker symbol there, 29.68. Later, if I have multiple positions open and I want to refer back to this, I need to quickly check how much I made on the spider trade. If I want to sort of quickly assess how much profit I want to take on it, I'll often come back and take a look at these. And then I can kind of keep a running tally of, buying and closing and how much money I've collected each day. This is just a matter of personal preference. People like to do it differently. Some people actually write it down in journals. This is not to say that this is the end all be all of how you track your trades. This is just what I do. It's what I like.
Okay guys, that's my trade for the day. Thank you so much for watching, and if you made it this far, just know that I appreciate you so very much. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment boxes and I'd be happy to answer them for you. Take care.